Tenses. Why can't tenses just leave me alone? Hey, come on. How can tenses leave you alone? Tenses are the most essential part of communicating in English. If we don't have our life story, if we don't have our past experience, our present desires, or our future aspirations, what are we? Are we even human beings? So, to talk about our life and everything that revolves around it, we need tenses. And the thing with tenses is we've always studied them in a very technical way. I know throughout school you've just been made to memorize, okay, use this form of the verb with this subject in this tense, use that form of the verb, etc., 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 and you have all of that information in your mind. Now what you're lacking or what you don't realize is when to logically use which tense. So that's what we are going to focus on in today's video. I'm Asmita, your IELTS mentor here at Vedantu, and today from the perspective of the IELTS we're just going to understand when we need to use which tense and how we can make sure we're not making certain mistakes that make us sound like not so fluent English speakers. All right. So no reason to be tensed about tenses. I'm here to help you out. Now, why do tenses matter when it comes to the IELTS? Why they matter when it comes to life? I've already told you. In the IELTS specifically, in your writing task 1, you will be presented a graph, okay, or a table with some kind of data, and you need to summarize it, talk about it, explain it in English. When you're doing that, you will primarily use two tenses. First, you will use the simple present tense to directly talk about what is shown in the graph or chart. And so, for example, the graph shows the sales of a particular product from this year to that year. Simple present tense. Then you will also have to talk about certain trends that have taken place, general observations in that time range. So, the sales of this particular product have grown, or the use of this particular product has declined over these years. Here you're using the present perfect tense to talk about a general trend in a time range, all right? So you will primarily be using these two tenses. Here you don't have to use the continuous tense as much, or you don't have to use the future tense because you don't have any data on the future unless you're explicitly asked to talk about a future prediction. You don't have to use the future tense, right? So that's for writing task 1. For writing task 2, you need to write an essay where you're giving your opinion. That opinion has to follow time logic. For example, if your essay is on should government spend more on, I don't know, public infrastructure, then yes, absolutely, government should spend more on public infrastructure is a simple present tense sentence where you've just stated your fact. You will talk about why public infrastructure is important for the country. Again, you will be stating these facts in simple present tense. But then if you're going to give evidence, you're going to reference a study that you read, a news article that you read, or something that happened in your childhood that left an impact on you. For example, because of a pothole in the road, you witnessed an accident and that was quite traumatic for you. If you want to reference that in your essay, you have to go switch to the past tense, talk about that incident, talk about its implications, and then again come back to the present tense. Later on in the essay, if you want to talk about why spending on public infrastructure is good for the overall economy or the impression of the country on a global scale, then you have to use the future tense to talk about these things. So that shift in tense has to follow a logic. It needs to be done correctly, and that is why writing task 2 will also, it's not that you're going to stick to one tense throughout. There's no shortcut, there's no easy rule that, hey, essay, only follow the simple present tense. That's not possible. That's not how we speak. That's not how we express our thoughts, okay? So to be able to switch between tenses becomes very important when it comes to the essay. Speaking bit, here again a lot of the cue card prompts are going to be about storytelling. So you are essentially narrating an experience from your life. You are talking about, a time when you did something unexpected. So you need to go back to that time and narrate the entire experience. So you're using past tense here. But you might also talk about the impact of doing that on your present self, how that sort of changed your personality, made you more spontaneous. In that case, you will have to shift to the present perfect tense. So there's always going to be shifting of tenses. It's not like if you get something like this, speak only in this tense. If you get something like that, speak only in that tense. That's not going to happen. That is why understanding the logic of when to use which tense becomes very, very important, okay? And other than that, your future plans can be discussed, okay? A lot of hypotheticals. And when it comes to the writing task 2 and the speaking, in both these cases, conditional sentences will also have to be formed. If the government spends more on public infrastructure, can happen. Okay, so these are conditional sentences, but if this happens, then that will happen. All right. Hypotheticals, if I were so and so, I would make this decision. If I were in a position of power at my university, I would change these things. Or if I were the president, I would do this, right? So here again, there is a very specific format that's followed. We don't say if I was, we say if I were. You need to know these nitty-gritties. You need to know these little rules to sound more fluent, okay? Which is why tenses matter. But we're not going to study tenses in the way that we've been doing it for the Indian school system, where I will explain each tense to you, tell you how to form each tense. That's not going to happen. That's a waste of your time right now. We're just going to listen to some common phrases and sentences and you will automatically know how to form which tense, okay? Now, can you point out the error in the sentence? Last year, I go to Australia. There is a clear dissonance here. What is the dissonance? That you're talking about something you did last year. So you have a phrase in the sentence itself that's giving you an indication of time. Last year, by definition, means in the past, right? So you have this phrase here that's telling you that, okay, this happened in the past. But then suddenly the dissonance happens here where the verb is not agreeing with the time. Okay, the verb is not agreeing with the time. So your tense, first and foremost, affects the verb of the sentence because the verb is the action. And whenever the action is happening, that is what the tense of the sentence is. If it's happening in the past, the tense is past tense. If it's happening now, it's present tense. If it will happen in the future, it's future tense, right? So the verb needs to be changed first. Then we have added words like adverbs and other phrases that sort of help us get an idea of the time at which the incident being described took place. Here, last year clearly tells us this happened in the past, but the verb over here is in the present tense. So what should this be? Easy to correct. I went to Australia. So this might seem very simplistic, very easy, but the problem is that when we form more complex sentences, very long sentences, we kind of miss out on this time logic. We might form a phrase here, use a phrase here and there that's in a different time and we forget to change the verb. So what we need to remember is that it is always the verb that we will change first depending upon our tense, and then we will add any supplementary phrases that we wish to add. Now, if I, instead of saying this, last year I go to Australia, if I simply said I go to Australia every month, now this sentence is correct because I have every month over here indicating that it is a habit or something that I do at a particular frequency, and because of that, this sentence in the simple present tense makes sense, although it's very expensive to go to Australia every month. So whoever's doing that, dang, but you get the point. So the verb in itself will never always give you the full information about time, but the verb is the main thing that needs to be changed when we change the tense. Everything else is supplementary, okay? Even if I remove this, I went to Australia, fine, that sentence still makes sense. I go to Australia, that sentence still makes sense. But the last year and the every month are helping me add specific information that I need to add, all right? Now here, because the verb is what will change when we change tenses, how we change the verb becomes very important. We have a set of rules. I'm sure you're aware of these set of rules. How in the continuous tense we use the ing form, perfect tense we use the V3 form, we have the helping verb has, have or had. Here we have forms of to be All of these rules, we've already studied this multiple times, we already know about this, but we end up making some errors here and there because English is a vast language and a lot of times it just simply doesn't follow rules properly. Okay, it's bad at following rules. So here, for first example, I am understand. I am understand. What you're trying to say is that, okay, whatever you're saying, I get it. I understand it. And you think that, okay, because this is a continuous process of understanding logically, it should be I am understanding. But we have certain set of verbs that we call stative verbs that we don't use in the ing form. Okay, and you can find a long list of such verbs. For example, love, hate, have, understand. Right, there is a list of these words. Now, I'm not saying you never form the ing form because that would be incorrect. You can form the ing form of these verbs in very specific cases. I'm loving it is such a famous catchphrase of a popular brand. But I just told you cannot use the ing form with stative verbs like love. So how is I'm loving it a common catchphrase used in English speaking countries? The thing is, you can in very specific contexts form the ing form, and I'm loving it again is a very colloquial way of talking, which again can be a good thing for the IELTS because you need to show that, I can talk like the average English speaker in whichever country you're trying to go to. So it's fine, but if only if you do it correctly. For example, if we are having a conversation, I can say, you know what, I am or I'm loving this, but I have to go. I'm loving this party. I'm loving the fight that's going on. In a very specific circumstance, I can say I am loving this, just to emphasize that this particular moment, this particular situation is something that I am enjoying or I'm really liking. So I'm loving this, but I gotta go. Okay? But the thing is, sorry, one second, but the general feeling of love or general feeling of hate it's not very fleeting, it's not momentary. That's the logic behind this. If I love something, point is that I like it's a part of my personality, and your personality doesn't fluctuate that much, right? So if I love ice cream, I love it for a given period of time. For me to start disliking it will take a big personality change that will happen over time. So the idea behind these words not being in the ing form is their position in your life doesn't change so easily or so fleetingly, which is why only in very particular contexts we can use the ing form. Okay, so like I'm hating this, whatever outfit that is, I'm hating it. Okay, it's a very colloquial vernacular kind of way to speak, but it is okay in very specific contexts, right? So having understood that, general rule in our head will be that we do not use the ing form with stative verbs, especially when we're talking about a general state of being. Like if I understand something that you're saying, I understand. That knowledge has entered my mind, it's here, I get it, I understood it, and now that understanding is going to remain with me for a given point of time, right? So it's always going to be I understand, not I am understand or not I am understanding. Okay, because to be forms are always used with ing forms. So I am understand or I am understanding is a no-go. I understand, simple present tense. Okay, next thing, he go to class every day. Now you might have heard sort of like the African American population speak a certain way, and if you listen to a lot of hip hop or rap or watch certain shows, you might pick up on the way they talk. So the thing there is SVC is not really followed, and that's fine. That's their way of talking. But speaking strictly from a grammatical perspective, it is incorrect not to adjust for subject verb agreement, right? So you saying he go to class every day will not sound good because you don't come from that community. So you're just appropriating the way they speak. Don't do that. Keep your grammatical rules in mind. He goes to class every day. Why? So now there is no tense problem. But tense doesn't come in isolation. That's the issue. It's not that tense is one isolated concept. Subject verb agreement is one isolated concept. That's not how it works. Tense and SVC go hand in hand. You have to adjust for SVC. You have made a simple present tense sentence. You have used the word go, which is the V1 form. You think everything is fine. But what you didn't account for is the fact that the subject is he, and along with this subject, you need to add es to go to make it agree with the subject, right? So he goes to class every day. They go to class every day is fine, but he goes to class every day. So again, don't think of tense as an isolated thing. It comes hand in hand with subject verb agreement. He don't has much time. He don't has much time. Two issues over here. Number one issue, whenever we form a negative in simple present, and we've already talked about this, we have to use a form of do. We have to use a form of do. Now, if we're talking about just the present tense, we have two forms, do and does. Okay? Past tense, we have did, that works for everything. Present tense, we have do and does. Singular is does, plural is do. Okay? So now here we want to make a negative sentence. He don't has much time is what we've written. First thing we need to correct, he is singular, so we need to use the singular form of do with it. He doesn't. He doesn't. Okay, we've corrected that. Now you might think, okay, but the verb also needs to be singular because we are using it with the singular subject. Here's the second issue. Remember, every time you use a form of do, the main verb that comes after it, main verb after it will always be in the V1 form regardless. Okay? You don't have to change the form of the main verb if you are using do in a sentence. Okay? So he doesn't have much time. Same thing applies here. I didn't knew it. No, I didn't know it. Because it is a form of do, and after a form of do, we always use the V1 form of the verb. So I didn't know it. Okay, very common mistakes that are made. Now, having gotten those out of the way, let's see when to use which tense. Okay, so these are the different kind of things you will have to do in your IELTS test. Okay, you might have to talk about your routines, describe a chart or a graph, storytelling, life experiences, current actions and future arrangements, future plans, and etc. etc. So which tense do I use when? So when we're talking about routines and when we are describing charts and graphs, we will use the simple present tense. If you're doing a bit of storytelling, mainly we're going to use the simple past tense. Sometimes we might have to use the past perfect tense, and sometimes we can even use the present perfect tense to talk about what impact that experience had on my life. Okay? If you're talking about current actions, things you're doing right now, and future arrangements, things you're planning to do in the future, okay, you will use the present continuous tense. Now you might wonder why you need to use the present continuous tense for future arrangements, because generally we don't say I will be attending a seminar tomorrow. Instead, we just say I am attending a seminar tomorrow. I am participating in a competition. I am watching a movie this evening. Generally, we end up using the present continuous tense to talk about a future arrangement. So that sounds more natural. So it's a good way to sound more like a native speaker. Future arrangements, present continuous. Formally, if you're talking about an actual future arrangement, that's like way down the line, you can use the future continuous tense, but makes more sense to use the present continuous to talk about future arrangements. I am moving to America next month. Okay, I will be moving to America next month. I'm moving to America next month. I'm moving to America next month sounds more like a natural speaker, right? Next, life experiences and charts and graphs. Again, here you are talking about your life experiences either in the speaking test, and you want to give a general overview of this happened and it has made me the person that I am today. Or you're talking about the charts and graphs in the sense that this is the observable trend in a given time range. In that case, you will make use of the present perfect tense. Present perfect tense, okay? I have become a more patient person. So your life experience and you're talking about yourself, I have become a more patient person. So this is in the present perfect tense, okay? Next we have, this is left, which is future plans and decisions. Simple future or future continuous. Very rarely will you actually use like a future perfect or a future perfect continuous. Very rarely. I would say probably never, okay? So I will be going to Dartmouth next semester, okay? Future continuous. Or I will move to Canada next year. Simple future tense sentence, okay? So these are the different tenses you will have to use in the given circumstances. General overview for you that you can remember. Now, let's do some practice. Here's the writing task 1. For example, you have a graph which will not look like this because I have drawn this, but I will explain to you what's going on. This is for electric car sales from 2015 to 2020. This is 2015, this is 2020. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the bars that look like lines that you see are your car sales from 2015 to 2020. So general trend is what? It has gone up. General trend. In the year 2019 specifically, car sales went up by a huge margin. So drastically or dramatically car sales grew. Generally car sales have gone up. Maybe there was a dip here, probably COVID related, right? So this is a general trend that we've observed in the graph. Now, if we want to talk about it, if we want to write sentences about it, how can we do that? Sales blank dramatically in 2019. Okay. So in 2019, what happened? What word can you use? What terminology can you use? Sales rose, increased, went up, any of these words, right? Now, did you listen to the tense that I used them in? Sales, if we go with increased, or we can use rose, went up dramatically in 2019. So we, in this chart itself, are talking about something that happened in the past. Currently, as we are analyzing the chart, we are in the year 2025 and we're talking about electric car sales in the year 2019. Okay, so we have this particular data. We know the data is from the past. Even in the chart, 2019 is before 2020, right? So we know logically we are talking about the past. That is why we will use the simple past tense here. When we are talking about the chart in general, we will say that this chart shows the sales of electric cars from the year 2015 to 2020. That sentence will be in the simple present tense. But when we are talking about specific data points, we will use the simple past tense. So it's not what I told you that in this task you will use this tense. Like I said, There is no general rules. There might be specific situations where you will have to use a different tense. You just have to know when to use which tense, right? And number 2, the number of users blank since 2015. Now we are saying since 2015, the number of users, have they gone up or have they gone down? We can see that they've gone up, okay? So the number of users has increased since 2015. Okay, so now two things here. First of all, why are we talking in the present perfect tense? Because like I told you, you are talking about a given range and you're saying, okay, the observable trend in this range is that this has happened. This is a very specific situation where you will have to use the present perfect tense. Okay, when you're talking about the overall trend in a given graph, present perfect tense. Now here has, because the subject of the sentence is number, not users. The number has increased since 2015. The number of users has increased since 2015. So another quick tip over here, that whenever you have a phrase of something, okay, after what you think is the subject, ignore this, okay? Of whatever needs to be ignored and not considered for subject verb agreement. To figure out which, if your verb needs to be singular or plural, to figure that out, you're only going to look at the subject. You're going to ignore the of phrase. Whatever the of phrase is, you're going to ignore it, and generally the of phrase will be plural only, okay? The number of friends he has. Friends might throw you off and you might think you need a plural verb, but in reality the subject is number. So whenever you see of and something else, please remember to ignore it and only focus on the actual subject of the sentence, okay? So here are two examples of sentences that you'll form. Again, one was in the simple past. This was in the present perfect. And if we can write a general overview sentence for this graph, then we will say, one sec, sorry. The graph shows the sales of electric cars 2015 to 2020. Graph singular shows, okay? Adjusted according to subject verb agreement. And which tense is this sentence is? In the simple present tense. So in the writing task 1, simple present tense, when you're just describing what the graph is about and everything that it has in it. Past tense, when you're talking about a particular data point in the past. And present perfect, when you're talking about the overall trend in that given range, okay? Okay, now this is an example from an essay. Some people think governments should invest more in public transport. Do you agree or disagree? So now here, the first sentence where you are giving your stance will be in the simple present tense. I agree that governments need to invest more in public transport, okay? When you are giving your stance, when you are stating your position, it's going to be in the simple present tense, okay? That's one thing. Then you're going to justify it. You're going to say why you think or why you agree. So when you do that, first you come up with the logic, okay? So the logic that you're stating is going to first be general, and it's going to be about why public transport is important. So you will say something along the lines of, is essential for citizen, da, 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 da. Okay, so whatever reason you're stating for why public transport is important, again, is going to be in the simple present tense. Public transport is important for people. It helps people commute. It helps tourists find their way in a city. A good public transport system makes the city more organized and less chaotic. It also takes cars away from the road, especially in polluted cities like Delhi. We need a robust public transport system to encourage people or to discourage people from using their private transport. Okay, so all these sentences that I have stated were in the simple present tense. When I'm giving reasons for why public transport is important, to justify that I agree that government needs to spend more on it, I am using simple present tense. Okay, now if I want to give data, evidence, if I want to cite sources, or if I want to give my own experience, I have two tenses to choose from. Okay, I can either use the simple past tense, or I can use the present perfect tense. So you can say I read an article in the newspaper that spoke about the need for whatever information you're citing, okay, as data, evidence, or source. And then you can also talk about something you have observed over time. So I have noticed a shift in the behavior of office goers around me, where they choose to use public transportation if it is clean, hygienic, and gets them to their destination faster. So here I've used the present perfect tense because it's an observable shift that I've seen in a given period of time or in a given data range. All right, so here to cite evidence, to give data, I can use either the simple past or the present perfect tense. So I have some homework for you. This is an exercise that you have to do. You have to give me two sentences in simple past, and you have to give me two sentences in present perfect, justifying whatever stance you take when it comes to this. Okay, for example, if I were to give you example, I used to take the bus to college. Okay, I used to take the bus to college because it was convenient. Okay, you can also say something along the lines of I had to take the bus, but because I had to take the bus because I had no choice, but I hated the experience, and then you can describe why you hated the experience. So this is my examples in simple past tense. Okay, you can also cite sources. So a news article from 2017 stated that, and whatever the news article stated, that cities with a robust public transport system are more productive. Okay, something along those lines. You want to cite a news article, you again use the simple past tense to do it. Stated that cities with good public transport, people prefer to live in cities with better public transport systems. Okay, so that's one example. Present perfect, what kind of sentences can you frame? I have observed that people prefer taking the metro for longer routes. Okay, this is something that I have observed over time. So, and it still remains true. So from one point to another in my head, at one point I started making this observation, and to this day it remains true. That's why I've used the present perfect tense to state this. So you can see both the examples. Something in simple past will look like this, something in present perfect will look like this. And now I'm going to add to your homework, where you have to give me 2 sentences in simple present, where you have to talk about why public transport is necessary or not necessary in the first place, why governments should or should not spend more on public transport. So you can say something along the lines of, public transport is the backbone of a city with a young working population. Okay, something along these lines, simple present tense sentence. All right, so I need you to give me 2 sentences in each tense, and then you will clearly understand when you're using which tense or for what purpose you're using which tense. Okay, I've also given you an example to help you out. Now next, this is something from the speaking part of the IELTS test. Describe a time when you helped someone. Now here the cue card is prompting you to talk about a time when you helped someone. Helped someone, past tense. Okay. So because the cue card question itself is in the past tense, you will obviously use the past tense. A time when I helped someone was when da 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 da. So you can, I remember that when I was 12 years old, I helped a homeless man find a shelter. Okay, maybe I did this back when I was 12. I helped a homeless man find a shelter. Okay, so again, I helped a homeless man find a shelter is in the past tense. Then I talk about my experience, what all transpired, what happened. You know, I saw him at first. I got a bit scared and I felt uneasy looking at him because we've been now see, pay attention to this. I felt a bit uneasy looking at him because we've grown up hearing the whole stranger danger deal, and we've been taught not to approach strangers, especially those who look like the man that I helped. So here I switched from past tense, where I'm describing an event that happened, to present perfect tense, that we have grown up or we have been taught not to. So here I have switched tense to talk about some kind of teaching or conditioning that has happened in my life and how that affected me in that particular moment in the past. Okay, so you might have to do these tense switches in the middle as well. Okay, now here once I've described, yet I went against my initial instincts and decided to help the man anyway, but I knew I shouldn't do it alone. Good sense prevailed and I called my father, cried to him and explained the situation. My father, being the kind man that he is, now again, being the kind man that he is, I am talking about my father in the past, but in the middle, I've just this added information, this interjection, it's sort of extra detail about my father's personality. I've added that to enhance the whole storytelling process. And my father is still a kind man. That is something that hasn't changed about him. So I switched from the past tense, being the kind man that he was, no, being the kind man that he is. Okay, so I've switched to the present tense. And then again, I went back to the past tense. Agreed to help me out, even though he was quite busy that day. He drove We drove the homeless man around. I'm making up a story as I go, okay? But you get the gist, right? You get how you have to switch based on what you're trying to convey. Obviously, the majority, the crux, the chunk is going to be past tense because you are retelling something, an experience that has already happened. But in the middle, you're going to add some kind of information. It could be in the present perfect tense when you're talking about a bias that you have or something that you know, some sort of information that you have. It could be in the simple present tense to describe a particular person who's still very much a part of your life and still very much the same as he used to be so many years ago. Okay, so here little shifts in tense will keep taking place, all right, but majority of it is going to be in the past tense. Okay, and then maybe you've learned a lesson from that experience, you realized something, so you can talk about that in the present perfect tense, or you can talk about that in the past tense also. I realized that doing this, helping others, is a lot more rewarding than being selfish, or going out of the way and going through trouble to help someone ultimately is extremely rewarding. You can say something like that, the lesson you've learned in the past tense, or you can also talk about it in the present perfect tense. So I have since then developed a habit. I've developed a habit of helping somebody in need. I'll drop whatever I'm doing and make sure I help them, because otherwise I feel really guilty afterwards. So whatever it is, it could be in the past tense itself, the realization that you had, or if it's something that still impacts your life to this day, you can use the present perfect tense to talk about it as well. Okay, so I have, or it could, now here is a rare case of present perfect continuous tense. Check this out. I have been donating to homeless shelters ever since that day. So now maybe after the whole experience, after finding a homeless shelter, you saw the kind of like the condition that the shelter was in, and that really impacted you and you felt really bad about it. So you decided, okay, whatever little money I have, I'm just going to make it a point to donate a little bit, a percentage of my salary every month to homeless shelters. Obviously, that time you were 12 years old, so you couldn't do it then. But once you started earning, or once you became older, you, whatever little pocket money you got, you donated a percentage of that to homeless shelters. So this is something that you started doing because of that incident, and to this day you're doing it, and even in the future you're going to continue doing this. So you can use the present perfect continuous tense for this. I have been donating to homeless shelters ever since that day. I have been donating. All right, present perfect continuous tense. So again, bulk of your answer going to be in the past tense, but definitely you have to incorporate other tenses in the middle to make it sound like normal English, because we just don't stick to one tense and talk in it. Okay, but I hope you have gotten a good overview of how to switch between tenses, how to use different tenses. If you want detailed videos on how to form which tense, if you think that will benefit you, please do let me know in the comments, and I will make a detailed video for you where you can understand the different tenses. Do not forget to do your little homework exercise. It's really going to help you out, trust me. And don't forget to fill out this form that's in the description. It's also going to really help you out, trust me. And don't forget to subscribe and follow us on our socials, because that's also really going to help you out. Trust me, just trust me. Okay, so I will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.